Soil erosion is where valuable topsoil is moved from one area to another. It is a natural, slow process. The topsoil, which is rich in carbon, is the best for growing plants and crops. Once the soil is gone, it's very difficult to get it back naturally. The loss of topsoil reduces the growth of grass for grazing or other crops and natural vegetation. Eroded soil flows into waterways and causes blockages and localized flooding.
Well, the water used to run in a place they call Big Park. When you go in, before you reach that bay, as I told you about, you come along that kind of water, it used to come down the hill. Our land was so, and right back, there was more or less the water used to make its own pathway to run off. And it goes all the way down to the sea. I guess water still comes down there, in the same place in Jerome. Yes, because I have a niece that lives along that section, and she told me lots of waters come down this along where she lives.
If this sediment reaches the sea, it can smother corals and seagrasses, causing them to get sick, which in turn impacts the fish population. The map shows the areas at risk of soil erosion. The areas most at risk are less vegetated areas, such as the recently cleared forests. The worst areas are the steeper slopes. Thankfully, in many areas, there is still a lot of vegetation, like the dry forests and the shrubs, both of which protect against soil erosion. In other areas, however, such as along the roadsides, where the goats are most prevalent. With a business-as-usual scenario, there's a lot of vegetation loss from more land being cleared. Less vegetation means fewer roots holding on to soil, which can now wash away. More goats mean even thinner areas of vegetation. All that extra topsoil can flow into the sea, harming marine life.
It has basically became an area of moss, dark moss, and used to see different species in there, like octopus and stuff like that. And now it is so dark and unattractive that it's saddening.
With a more ecotourism scenario, a lot of the vegetation remains intact and stabilizes the soil. Where goat management has been put into place and the undergrowth restored, the risk of erosion has significantly decreased as more roots help hold the soil in place. Around the world, ice sheets and glaciers are melting. Most of that melted water flows into the sea. This is one more reason why sea levels are rising. Sea level rise is a big threat to small islands, as there are usually a lot of homes and hotels on the coast.
Sand mining used to be a very serious problem in the past. That's the way how we construct houses here before, or any sort of building. Even the road construction by government used to use the sand from the beach also. Right? We never knew of that will have an impact on us today, because in the past that's what we use. But today we are seeing evidence of the impact of removing the sand from the beach. And presently now they are trying their best to try and stop people from taking sand from the beach. But we have to remember, if you don't educate people and if you don't support or give them some form of help, people will still go out there and taking sand from the beach.
Some scientists think that sea levels might be more than 1 meter high by 2080. At this time, 97 buildings would be in the sea, and 49 roads or tracks would have to be moved. Water levels can get even higher from the high tides and the storm surges. Use the slide on the map to see the difference in sea level between today and a 6-meter storm surge on top of a 1.3-meter sea rise in 2080, which is on the right.
60 years ago compared to today, there's a lot of changes. A lot of our land is now in the sea.
Natural coastal habitats are great at reducing the size and speed of storm waves, helping to reduce the damage to coastal homes, businesses, and roads. Coral reefs and sand dunes can act as a physical barrier. Mangrove habitats are thick and dense and help to break up the waves and absorb storm surges. Climate change is making storms and hurricanes more powerful. Larger hurricanes mean more powerful storm surges. The map on the right shows the most vulnerable areas to storm surge. Most hurricanes currently come from the east, so that side of the island is more at risk. Luckily, coral reefs help protect the main settlement. Ashton is helped by mangroves as well. If their health continues to deteriorate, their protective abilities are reduced.
In Richmond, they cut down a lot of the mangrove trees. And because the mangrove trees cut down, especially in Big Sand area, a lot of the mangroves are cut down. And because of that, we're having a lot of coastal erosion taking place in that area.
It was 3 square miles in size. It could be like 2.8, 2.6, 2.7, because we've been losing land all the time.
Under a business as usual scenario, the higher erosion levels, more soil is washed into the sea, damaging the reefs and reducing their protection against storm surges. Under an ecotourism scenario, there's less erosion, so less sediment covering the reefs. And this type of tourism attracts visitors who are more likely to want to support local coral restoration efforts, which can over time help reefs to recover. Protected and expanded mangrove habitats help reduce the strength of the storm waves. As a result, Ashton and Big Sands are better protected. Use the slider to see the impact the different scenarios have on coastal vulnerability.
And the prediction is that there is a certain area between 2025 and 2050 will be completely underwater around the coastline of Union Island. And I don't think much people know of that, but that is something I know, and that is something I'm watching, and I'm seeing it taking place gradually. Because I can see the difference in the rise in the tide. Every year, I pay a close attention to this. So what I'm saying here is not because I just want to say it, I'm saying it because of observation.
Ecosystem-based adaptation is a process where we work with nature to help protect our communities from rising sea levels and storm surges. The more coral reefs, seagrass, and mangroves that we can restore along our coast, the better protected we are.